Alright, so what I'm going to start by doing is implementing this query right here, which is a GraphQL query. So this pick a repo page, we load all the repos, and do I actually even have it running right now? Yeah, I do. And we can see I'm also logging it. And to get those right now, we're using OctaKit, which we no longer really need to use, so I'm not going to bother with that. I'm not going to worry about grabbing the rate limit with this. Unusual time, yes. I'm gonna be streaming tonight as well, but I also have some extra time this morning that I'm going to be streaming as well. So I guess we can keep the comments in; those are kind of helpful. I don't think we need to know. This could be helpful information at some point. I'm gonna comment it out for now. I'm gonna get the first 100 repos. That's as many as we can get. And I think I ran this in GraphQL Explorer yesterday. Yeah. Alright, so at first I don't think I'm going to worry about getting the different branches. I only care about the default branch, I think. Actually, I'm just going to copy and paste this over when I like it. So we're going to have the name of the repository, the default branch. For now, I don't care about the name, but let's keep it in there for now. And we care about the ID of it. Ben, will you use Kubernetes? I'm open to using it, but I'm not too familiar with it. So I'm not sure if I'm going to deploy it the first time with Kubernetes. Maybe I'll leave that for like a future project that I do, is redeploying it with Kubernetes. But I don't think I'm going to do it at first anyway. Primary language. Is it important to know what the primary language is? I don't think so. I think it can be computed based on the number of languages here. First 10 is suitable. And then we also want to get the topics. That's perfect. I'll help you set up a Docker swarm if you want. I'm down. That sounds good. Hey Vic, are you working on Code Ponder still or something new? Yep, I'm working on Code Ponder today. And pretty much I'm going to be working on it for a little while longer. Alright, so I just want to make sure that we're grabbing all the data that I want to grab. So the things that I'm storing are the commit ID, which we should be getting from the OID from the default branch. The repo name, which we're fetching, programming language we're fetching. Are we fetching the repo owner right now? No. I guess we know the repo owner is the viewer, so maybe we should get the data from there. I'm not sure which one is a better place to get it, because it's going to list my name a bunch of times for no reason, basically. I think that's fine though. Maybe for some reason the owner would be different on some repos. Creator ID, questions, all this other stuff we don't need. All right, I think I'm happy with this query now. So what I'm thinking about right now is whether I need to store the programming languages and the repository topics. I think it's worthwhile because some repositories are not going to have topics. So now that I'm going to add this extra like topics array, we need to add it to our create input. Alright, so now I have the query the way I want it. I'm just going to generate the types for it. Yeah, I am early today. I'm going to be streaming earlier and also later. So we should have some new Apollo components that we can use. Though I generated, I should have not used generate. We have a special one that generates for GraphQL queries, and we also have to give this a name. We also are storing it in GitHub Apollo components. Alright, so now we have a nice nesting. I think this is the first time I've nested in this project. We have 2 rendered props that are nested. Because we're doing a GitHub request to the GitHub API, we need to use the our special GitHub context. I don't think I need anything in here. I think I'm going to make a higher order component that checks whether people are logged in and stuff, but we'll do that at a different point. So instead of repositories here, it's going to be messy actually. Actually, no, it's not, because we can say data.viewer.repositories.edges. Node possibly undefined. I think I'm going to assume that node is defined. So let's just see if this works. So we passed in this .context for the client, and we're doing that here as well. For some reason it's not liking it though. We also were fetching it and get initial props though, so maybe we should have been doing that as well. I don't think so. I think this was only an optimization so it didn't flash. Response was not successful. Just gonna verify that I'm logged in. And I am, because I'm able to get this data. Oh, I tried making a post request. Ah. So this didn't work. So I'm trying to do the GitHub API query on my local server instead of sending it to the GitHub API right now. Even though we have the client set as this.context, which should be getting the Apollo client context. Just make sure this is a thing. It is a thing. So I don't understand why it's using the other client when we pass it in here. I think if we turn server-side rendering off, it'll work. See if there's something wrong with this. Oh, I'm just a noob and I was passing it to the wrong thing. That explains it. So I was passing it to the mutation when I should have been passing it to the query. Alright, now it seems to load it okay. Alright, so when I click on this, we get a node. I want to pick one that has edges, and I don't know how many of my repos actually have edges. I think it's also would be helpful to get the description of the repo. Looks like it is capitals matter. We should make it so it doesn't matter if you say lowercase or uppercase. Dang, it's so deeply nested there. So what happens if I have two topics actually? Python and I bet we used pip in this. So topics is going to be equal to item.node. So that's what topics will be, and let's see if name is always a string. And it's not going to tell us because we have these other problems. Alright, so the owner login is going to be the repo owner. The name of the repo is just going to be node.name programming languages. It's going to be languages.edges. For now, I don't think we care about the color. Maybe we want to match the color with GitHub at some point. Is this possibly undefined, like the person doesn't have a default branch? Alright, let's just assume they have a default branch. Okay, let's see what else I'm missing. Oh, description can possibly be null. Say or string. Edges could be null. So if any of these things are undefined, then we would just want this programming language array to be empty. We're not using these props anymore. Can't wait to see what this project is going to be when it's done. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting when we get more parts of it done. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and install Lodash-Git. And what that does is it's going to allow us to handle cases where these things are undefined just a little bit easier. The other thing we need to install is the types for it, so whenever this is done, we'll install that too. You don't have types for it? Yeah, I'm gonna lose the type definition for it. I'm pretty certain if the nodes are going to be defined, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'm not sure what I want to do if the default branch is not available. That I feel like I'll just let the program crash because we're kind of in a bad place where we need this ID. These three things I think are going to be defined because I don't think we have to worry about the node being undefined. Command failed. Forgot to add the @ sign there. Anyway, if you install it all and do import git from the legend, you get the same effect. Yeah, I'm just used to like installing them individually. I guess I could just install Lodash and then import it like that as well. This is pretty much I don't use too many Lodash things. This is pretty much the only one I'm usually using. Maybe we'll use the sort by function too. And if we end up adding that, I'll just install Lodash and then import it like that. Alright, so now we're actually creating Alright, and this is still complaining. So yeah, this is where we actually will like lose the type definition, which is annoying. I'm just gonna go ahead and say any because I don't feel like typing it, and we already know that's the right thing. Await outside. Okay, I just made it async, so it should not be complaining anymore. Cannot return null for non-nullable field code review post. Okay. So let's see why we're returning null for this. Hey Repo, yeah, I'm streaming early today. So right here I forgot to await when we save this. So I think that's what's going on. And a matter of fact, I forgot to just await all of this stuff. So we were just returning promises. No work today? Yeah, I have some extra time today, so I figured I'd get some extra work done with Code Ponder. How are you liking React? I really like it. I pretty much use it for any project, any web project these days. I haven't really used Vue or Angular. Dang it, did I copy the commit ID? I just wanted to make sure we were getting the same thing back. We're getting the same thing back there. What stack do you use at work? Pretty much the same stack I'm using for this project. So React, GraphQL, and TypeScript and Node on the server. Triangular. I'll try Angular when I'm... Honestly, Angular is like probably the third on my list. Like, so like if I was gonna learn a new web framework, the one I would learn instead would be Vue. So I would go with this guy. So like if I wasn't doing React, I would try Vue. And then before I tried Angular, I would be kind of interested to try this framework. I don't know how you pronounce it. Svelte. So I would give this one a try. And then I would give Angular a try. But this all happens after I get tired of using React or don't like it anymore. And so far, I'm really liking React. Vue is low-key crazy. Alright, so now we are creating code review posts. So I think what I want to happen is after you create the post, it takes you to a new screen that kind of looks like this. So I'm thinking about changing this particular screen a little bit. Instead of having it match kind of like a similar path of how GitHub does it, I think I'm going to say like /post and then like a post ID. And then maybe the path down the file tree. So I'm going to add a new thing on the server where I can fetch a single post by the ID. And so I'm going to make this another generic resolver, which I'm going to say get by ID. We don't have to worry about an archetype for this, because we know we only have a single thing, which is going to be the ID. What operating system are you rocking? Yeah, I'm on Mac. And I don't know if I've upgraded to the latest yet. Yeah, I'm still on High Sierra. I haven't upgraded yet. So this is going to be real simple. Let's say you don't even have to be authorized to get it. So here we're just going to return the entity.find1, passing in the ID. Get code review post by ID. What did I call this? ID resolver. So now we're using the suffix in multiple places. Just going to create a variable real quick for it. Entity, code review post, return type, code review post. You want to start doing iOS development? So you want to start like learning Swift? I think you need iOS stuff even if you want to do, I mean, I think you still need a Mac even if you want to do iOS on a development on React Native. Nice. I did like a beginner Swift like introduction at some point, and I enjoyed it. It seemed like a nice language. So now our schema should have a new type in it. Alright, but it should not be a mutation. So let me change this to a query. I don't know, I feel like Hackintoshes are pretty sketchy. Get code review post by ID. So now we're just going to implement this on the website. Let's create a query. And I guess we can write it out in GraphQL Playground real quick. ID, which is string, and then whatever fields that I want. Just installed Mojave on my Hackintosh last night. Seems difficult at first, but there's a ton of resources out there. Oh, nice. How long have you had yours for? Like, I would say my biggest concern if I was going to try doing a Hackintosh would be I'd constantly have to be trying to fix stuff. I'm curious, like, how much stuff, like, breaks, for example. Are you using or have you used GraphQL Yoga? I have used GraphQL Yoga before. I'm not using it for this project. I'm using Apollo Server 2 for this project. So this is a point where I want to share the fields with this post over here. So again, we're going to do a fragment. Can't remember if I did capital. Okay, I did lowercase. My buddy who owns discord.me is using React and has told me to start learning it soon and start to also learn Vue as well. Yeah, I think both are really solid. I'm not really sure what fields I want yet, so we're just going to use these. Yeah, I definitely agree with Repo though. Like, I think you kind of pick one of those to learn. I don't know why I just copied this. I just wanted to copy the name. Yeah, there's definitely, I feel like web dev, there's a lot of custom functionality that needs to be created. And it's less template oriented. So basically, I'm now going to call that on a different route to fetch the code review post. Cannot query commit ID on code review question. All right, so I messed something up, and that's right here. That should be a post. I recently started using Prisma at my job. It feels like there's too much magic happening, and I don't like it. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of magic that happens with Prisma, and that's kind of like why I recommend for beginners, they'll ask whether they should start with Prisma, and I kind of recommend learning just how to set up a GraphQL server and schema without using Prisma first. Oh yes, I was going to change the routes. So now I'm going to say /post, and I guess I should rename this to post. And then we're going to have an ID for the post, and then we're going to have a path. I restarted doing Prisma. Alright. I need to go do something real quick, guys. I'll be right back. Alright, sorry about that. I'm back. Oh, you feel like Apollo does a ton? Personally, I have no idea the difference between Angular 4 and Angular 6. Never used either. I bet there's like a site that has like a comparison of the differences. So do you feel like Apollo does a bunch of stuff on the server side? Because I would say Apollo on the server side is relatively less magical. I feel like the client side is way more magical with Apollo than their server. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to tell you if the 2017 book on Angular 4 is worth it. Knowing nothing, I'm thinking probably worth. I like if I were you, I would probably be learning the latest Angular. So I would get a newer Angular book. But I don't get how a server is set up for the GraphQL is the thing. So and actually Apollo is not doing a ton of stuff right now because I'm actually using Express as well with this. So basically I'm creating an Express server and I'm saying I think I have like an add middleware. Where am I doing this? Yeah. I do server.apply middleware. I guess if you're using the default Apollo server, it does a little bit more than if you use the one with Express. But for the most part, you don't have to worry about how I'm building my schema. You pass it a schema, you pass it a resolver, and actually Apollo doesn't do too much. I would say it's probably GraphQL does a lot more, like GraphQL, the function that actually goes and computes what's supposed to be returned to the user than the server itself. With Apollo, at least for me, I don't know how to even connect to GraphQL API with Express, so I don't know what's really going on. It's not like an objective 2 is just personal thing. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely see that. There's like, it's confusing how like the API connects with GraphQL and Apollo server and how that kind of works underneath the hood. It's not very translucent. So I think I want to call this new get code review query. And it's going to be in our posts over here. So I'm going to rename this to post. So now the query is going to have a different thing. It's going to have an ID. And it's going to have a path. And that's it. So we're gonna say, oh, I just did the document here. I don't think I even need to grab the document like that. So we're gonna say get code review post by ID, that query. And then we need to pass in some variables. And I think there's only one variable, which is the ID, which we're getting from the query. Yeah, this is not going to actually. So, like, notice the type of the response. It's a Apollo query result, but there's no like definition to it. It's an empty object. We can pass in a generic here. So get code review. I don't know if I generated the types. I did generate types because I'm not getting auto completion. Usually I just will like reopen this. And it pops up. There we go. So component query is what we care about. So now we have like a thing here. And so we can say if we get a response back. And I don't think we get any loading. This is possibly null, by the way. I didn't specify that in my server. You need to learn TypeScript? Yeah, you do. Just go through the 5-minute primer on the TypeScript website. I should honestly add that as a link in the description because there's quite a few people that want to learn TypeScript. Alright, so now this is possibly undefined. So I need to think about what I want to do when stuff is undefined. So I guess I'm going to pass some props down. And what props am I going to pass down? Do I want to pass all this stuff down? Yeah, I do need to make it a channel command. That would be good, actually. I'm going to worry about if it's undefined in a second. let's just worry about what happens when it is defined. Alright, so first I fetch the code review, and then I need to fetch if there's any questions associated with the current path. And that's what this get repo, what does get repo object document do actually? Yeah, that gets the current one. And we're calling it here just to cache it, I believe. And we actually access it down there. Alright, so the variables that we need to fetch this now are still the same. So the branch is going to be get code review ID dot commit ID. We still need the path. And we're only fetching this if there is a path. Let's assume there is a path for now. I'm going to do error handling in a second. So pass in the expression, where is name coming from? We're not passing that in it right now either. So that's going to be get code review dot repo owner. Alright, so once we pass all that stuff in, we're good. Pass that down here as well. Alright, so we have those props. We don't care about the branch anymore. Path is going to be sometimes defined. We're passing that down. Expression name owner is what we're passing down. Alright. We don't need to worry about passing any of this stuff. It's just going to be that and ID. Let's pass the ID down. So this is now going to be called, so everywhere we have route equal post or route equal repo, we're replacing that with post now. Which is only here. I think we also have in the components folder. Alright, we'll fix that at a later date when that pops up, I guess. So I'm going to pass the ID down as well. Alright, we don't care about the branch. And this is pretty much gone. Care about those things. The code file, we don't care about the branch anymore. We're gonna have to update this find code review questions component. I guess we should probably do that now. So it's going to be start by updating the query on the back end. That's kind of the sequence I like to work in, is fix it on the server side first and then go in and fix it on the web next. So let's just find code review questions. We have a path, and then we also have a post ID. So I didn't actually add a post ID, so let's do that. Alright, now it's not complaining anymore. When I save that, that should update the server, and now let's fix the website. Now we just care about the path and the ID. Hey, Chewbacca. So now that's really all we need to pass to this thing. So we need the code and the ID. So it doesn't know it exists right now. I need to generate. Ooh, it crashed the server. So I'm just dropping the database and recreating it because I don't care. Because some of the data doesn't match. So I called it post ID. Alright, so we don't have to actually pass that in now. Just the ID is what we also care about. I'm gonna call it post ID here. Oh, so this is possibly undefined now. All right. So that's all done, and that means when we pick a repo, we're gonna actually take them to the page they want to go to. No, actually, we're not. Yeah, actually, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. Alright, so this ID is what we care about. So now we can push over to it. So we're gonna say routes. Actually, we call it router. Dot push route. Alright, so I actually expect this to crash. I was not expecting to be unauthorized there. So option 1, we're not passing the token in. Option 2, our token is just not there. So let's could not get data. Did I crash my server? Column repo does not exist. So let's fix that real quick. Just select all. We'll fix this again at a later point. Oh, internal server error. Cool. So let's log in. Alright, yeah, it looks like we were just, our key went bad for some reason. So I was expecting this to crash, and sure enough it did. Route should start with the slash got post. Alright, let's call it post. I think that was a different error than what I was expecting. Alright, we're rebuilding. Now hopefully we get the error that I was expecting. That was just we were on the wrong route. Are you using any sort of query builder? I'm using Typeworm, which has a query builder. That particular query I didn't know how to do with Typeworm. Oh, dang. We found a node which doesn't have a name. Which node doesn't have a name? Alright, so this crashed, which is what I expected. But all I wanted to do was get the ID. Hey, Plateris. Yeah, I'm wanting to get a little bit more done, so I'm streaming earlier today and also later. To become a full stack developer, what is the best source? There's like this mind map that's pretty helpful. Oh, that's what it's called, roadmap. I would go through this. Link this in description if you want to check it out. basically what it is just the path that you can take to learn stuff, right? So I'm going to go to grayscale/setup.py. See if that works. Now this I expected to work, so let's see what's going wrong with that. Field get code review post doesn't exist on type query. No such type code review post. Okay. Code review post does exist. All right, I think we just have something silly. Why am I not thinking about using Angular? Because I like React so much. Like if I wasn't enjoying using React, then I would like consider it, but until then, I guess we're not. All right, we're doing it here. It says we're not using the ID, which is kind of interesting. And I put it in the get initial props, which should be log server side. So, all right, so the ID is a value. Okay, so we have a couple problems here. Get code review post by ID doesn't exist on type query, but it does, unless if I refresh, it's gone. Get code review post by ID. No such type code review post, so it can't be a fragment condition. Variable ID is declared by but I am using it. This type does exist. All right, so something wonky is going on. We're gonna have to debug what's going on with this. I'm not sure why I'm getting this. And in the GitHub, the name is different from the login username. If you go to your GitHub profile, there's an input to put the name. It is empty by default. It is the same place where you can put your bio info. Okay, I see what you're saying. Like by name, it's like your like your name and not your username. I think I have mine has been a lot in both. So you're talking about this versus this. Why you want to use Vue and some other stuff before checking out Angular. That was just kind of like, as someone who's never tried any of that stuff, that was just kind of the impression that I got, of which the like, I think I would like Vue the most, then Svelte, and then Angular. But that's just like a random guess pretty much. So the first thing I'm going to do, the funny thing is we're using a fragment, the same fragment over here, and it works just fine in the Finder create. I'm just going to restart the server and see if that does anything. This is so odd. It's paste in the fields. Hey Francis, I am up a little bit earlier than usual, or at least streaming. Can I ask what you're building? Yes, I'm building a website for code reviews where people can basically post their code and then people can give them code reviews. Can I just spend a couple afternoons on Vue and like see how much I like it, I guess. I mean, I guess I could do that, but I just, and you know, it may be like worth doing that, but I feel like, for example, it would take X amount of time to get up to speed where I am with React with Vue. And so I'm enjoying React and it's super popular right now, so I don't see like a big reason to try out Vue right now. Like I still want to try it out at some point though. Vue doesn't have the jobs. I mean, I feel like there's still a decent amount of them, but I mean, I feel like React is kind of dominating the job front. I agree with that. You just hear about so many more opportunities with React. But I mean, also, I'm in React, doing React stuff, so it makes more sense. So I'm biased. All right. So I'm just gonna try running this query in GraphQL Playground and see what's going on with it. I'm not sure why it's acting up. Oh, this is HP headers. I want to do variables. There we go. All right. Invalid input syntax for the type UID. Okay, this could explain why it's not working. That's weird. Alright, so here's what I want to do. No, this is post that we're grabbing. So somehow an extra 0 got up in there, I guess. That's so weird that that was causing that error looked totally different on the client side. Alright, now that I kind of figured out that that extra 0 was causing it, let's see if this loads. Nope. Alright, I'm gonna go bathroom real quick, and then I'll take a look at chat and figure out what's up with this. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . All right, let's see what chat has to say. Why would you need to get to the same level with React? I would guess you'd build an intuition for strengths and weaknesses sooner than that. Oh, what I mean is, I would get a vibe of like what I think of you and whether I like it or not. I just mean like the types of websites and the things that I can build with React, I would not be able to build with Vue for a little bit while I'm like building up and getting better at Vue. At some point, like it would be really cool to see like a comparison about like creating a Vue project and a React project and see which one I liked building with better. So that could be like an interesting thing to do. I just mean that pretty much I'm able to build the things that I want to build in React, so I don't see so I haven't had the need pretty much yet to go use Vue and try that out, I guess. And like React is so popular and does the same thing, and I'm enjoying it, that I just haven't felt the need to try it out yet. Is basically. At some point, I do want to try it out though, but I'm not sure when that'll be, as I'll actually get to it. I shared an opinion last night with some people, wanted to know what your thoughts were. Okay guys, I'm about to learn GraphQL, but this is my at-a-glance viewpoint of it. GraphQL does make things a bit easier for developers in the front by not having to constantly communicate to the backend developers to reason about how the data should be structured. But any full-stack dev that is familiar with backend could easily create a couple of endpoints to his needs, and that would be much simpler than that. What I think is another layer, instance on another layer, but I think I do see it as useful. At least for me, like I'm basically building this as a full stack project right now, and I really enjoy building it with GraphQL, and I would never really want to build a personal project or like a full stack project that I'm working on my own or in a team without GraphQL, because it's just so nice. Like I really like all the tooling that you get around it, and you also get the types is like a huge thing. Like this is extra typey because I'm using type GraphQL, so we're actually even building our resolvers in TypeScript. But being able to know all the types and checking that is just so nice, and then being able to like auto-generate the queries on the front end and be able to know all the types of it and the data that I can access and what's null and what's not null is really helpful. So I really like it, and I really like using it. And as a full stack developer, I really enjoy it. Like I like structuring my API with GraphQL as a backend developer as well. Yeah, you can either have GraphQL. You cannot use caching using a CDN. I think you can do some similar caching like a CDN. Like I think there's actually like a GraphQL. That's what I was gonna say. There's this one thing that I saw called FastQL at one point. That this is literally a CDN built. Yeah, there you go. Specifically built for GraphQL. Awaiting those videos where I try out Vue. You bet. Like that's the other thing too. There's so many things that I want to do with React that I haven't gotten to yet, that Vue has just been put in like the back of the list, if you know what I mean. The other thing, I really like that Vue is like pushing towards TypeScript though. That's really cool to see too. But structuring data that I need in endpoints is usually adding 1 or 2 endpoints. I mean, that's pretty much the same thing that I'm doing with a GraphQL, right? I just add 1 or 2 mutations, or I add 1 or 2 queries, whatever I want the endpoint to be. So it's, in that sense, it's pretty much the same thing, and that's pretty much what I'm doing, right? All right, I need to fetch this data now. Well, let me just create a mutation for it and grab it. But I mean, I haven't tried out this FastQL, so I can't say how good it is. Let's see how much it costs to use it. 5K requests per month. 1,000 requests per month. And I also think Apollo Engine, or I guess they're calling themselves Apollo Platform now, because they do more than just the engine, does caching as well. 10,000 requests per month. 10 million, I mean. Yep, it'd be interesting to try that out and see what that looks like. Do I have a domain bought already? I do. Codeponder.com. So we're just going to be replacing this. This is the site that I built in the 24-hour startup challenge, and so we're just going to be replacing this. Ooh, I should add that command. Let me just make a note of these things. So the keyboard that I'm using is a DAS keyboard. DAS. I'm currently using brown switches, I believe. So I went with brown so they're like a little bit quieter. Alright, so let's figure out what the heck is going on with this. Alright, so let's see. So my server is up and running. So let's copy that, paste that there. Still getting the same junk. Guys, I know the problem. I was just being a noob. Notice how I'm using the GitHub Apollo client. Man, this is... I knew this would mess me up where I'm just using the wrong client. We need to be using the Apollo client because we're hitting the wrong GraphQL API. We don't want to hit the GitHub API for this particular query, but we do for this query. Are browns the quiet version of blues? I don't know how it compares to blues, but browns I think are quieter than red. Alright, so now it loads. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Oh, blues are even louder than red? Alright, so now that we got this to load, I want to handle the case where things are undefined. Like, for example, this is going to be undefined because the path is undefined. Actually, I think it's as easy as this. If there's a path, it should be... Now I have a nested template here. Should be path, colon. Otherwise, it should be an empty string. And I think that should fetch them now. Why are you streaming so early today, Ben? Had some extra time and I want to get more done with CodePonder. Okay, still can't find the Well, usually I stream at 6 p.m. so that it's pretty much early for everyone that it's earlier than when I usually do it. So we should be passing a path down, and I'm wondering if it's getting mangled. Alright, so expression. That expression looks correct. Oh, something just went straight wrong. Oh, we're getting an object back that's not a tree and is not a blob. Alright, let's see what data we're getting back. This is kind of peculiar. Alright, so we're getting a repository back. And it's a commit. Your coding is on another level. Keep it up. Thanks, the Furter. Alright, so let's go to the GraphQL playground and figure out what we want to request for this. So this is this request. Alright, let's see. Alright, so first, what happens if I keep the colon there? Unexpected end of document. Oops. You have two objects, a commit and a repo. Alright, what? Oh, it just doesn't get it for either. So basically I have, oh wait. Am I doing that right? Am I passing in the commit ID? Yeah, I am. So I'm using this commit ID that I'm storing when I fetch the default branch. So that might be the wrong thing now. You have a more neutral feeling about GraphQL. Huh, now I see why this is returning null. I'm just on the wrong project too. This should be grayscale. That's where this commit is coming from. Did I spell that right? Alright, so this is working when I fetch it here, so let me just load or copy paste the variables we're passing in. Alright, passing in grayscale and then this. Okay, yeah, I was just passing in just totally the wrong ID. I was passing in the ID, and I want this commit ID. Alright, so if I include the colon, I get stuff. If I don't include the colon, I get a commit. Alright, so what that means is I always want to include the colon. Keep that. I was thinking I did not want the colon. But it looks like this is actually much easier than I thought it was going to be. Get rid of that. Okay, so we're just going to say path or an empty string, which is what we had a couple minutes ago anyway. And we'll see what that looks like. Cool. So this is what I wanted, where we're actually fetching the repo. Perfect. And so let's see if the navigation still works. I broke that. I think that just has to do with me calling it repo here. It's called post. Nice. Okay. So our navigation is now working again. And so now that we're grabbing this data, and by this data, what I mean is we now have access to basically the code review post. So we can display all that data up here. So I think what I want to start doing now is putting together this next page, which I'm not sure why it says Twitter there. There we go. So let's put together like this card thing because we have all this data now. The one thing that we haven't done yet is these things. So given a path, give me how many questions are in each directory, because this is actually a really helpful thing to be able to find where the questions are located. So it's probably worth adding. This may be a more complex thing to code though. I'm going to put together this card real quick and then we'll continue. So let's go over here. So first off, we need to decide on a good width for our website. So this is using 770. I think it's like 900. I believe the optimal website width is still 960 pixels. Cool. So we're going to use 960 pixels then. So this is going to be like, there's two things. So we're going to have like a wrapper, and then we're going to have this card, because I don't think we use this card on every screen. Yeah, because we don't use it on the screen. So let's go over to our UI package. Do I have Storybook started up? I do. Cool. I'm going to create a new wrapper. $960 is small. If you expect developers with larger resolutions to use your site, you do. You can make it bigger. What does GitHub use? Because they're targeting developers too. Now my resolution is all wonky, so this might be a bad guess. You personally use 1200. Response, yeah, I want to make it semi-responsive. See, GitHub, it looks like it's using 980, but I don't know if that's just because of my resolution, if it's different on something else. Let me see on my laptop what the resolution is. Or not the resolution, what the width is. It uses 1180. Okay. I mean, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set this wrapper to a variable. Okay, I'm getting 980 as their thing for on my laptop too. I think they use 980. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make the wrapper like use ems instead of pixels. All right, I'm down for that. But what I'm going to do is the wrapper, I can always change the size of that at a later point if I need to. And it can just kind of flow, if you will. So we're going to say export const wrapper. Alright, so this way our wrapper is always at the edge of the screen. We're going to be the full width of the person's computer, and then otherwise we're going to be 980 pixels. I don't even think it's necessary that we create a story for this, because this is pretty basic. Unless I do more complex wrapping. Alright, so we have a card grid, we have a question card. What should I call this thing? This is like a page card. It looks like it has rounded corners. Let's zoom in a little bit. Why don't I just call it big card? I don't know why I just did GQL there. Just like out of habit, whenever I do a template, it's usually GQL. Alright, so I mean, the big card is just going to have a width of 100%. I kind of wanted to see what padding it had. Another question, does GraphQL plus Apollo essentially become your global state replacing Redux? Yes. So that's, I'm not using Redux in this project, and that's pretty much why. All the data that you're fetching from the server is going to be cached and stored in Apollo. All right. Come on, tell me how far apart they are. Did I just get rid of it? Oh shoot. Control Z. I think I accidentally just got rid of it. Awkward. Alright, I'm just gonna press Control Z a couple times until I think it, yeah, okay, it's back. I don't know how I just deleted it. Yeah, I did make a video about it a little while ago. Draw a rectangle, and you get the width by doing Control R or Command R, and it brings up the rulers. Alright. It's a good idea, actually. We can just go bam. Alright, so that is 21 pixels. Let's round it to 20. So should I be using ems for the padding here as well? And actually I forgot, so should we be using ems for like the max width and the padding here, or is it fine to use pixels? So this is gonna have curly edges, border radius, like 9 pixels I think we say. Why is that breaking? Oh, I didn't say a colon there. Ooh, use rims. So should I use rims for the 1.25 rims? Should I use rims for this as well, or does this make sense to use pixels here? They're relative to the root font size. Oh, that's cool. Cause like I can do what, 61.25 rims here. Is that worth doing? Or is widths should be just a static 980 width? Is GitHub is using width here on their container? Hey Ben, first time here. What exactly is the use of Storybook? Storybook, pretty much what I'm using it for is I can see all my components that I have, and if I want to work on a component, I can kind of just like view it here and work on it in isolation. Yeah, exactly what Francis said. I don't think you want it to be responsive. What did you use to calculate the M's? I just divided by 16. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is Alfred. So this is like a alternative to Spotlight. So that's Spotlight, that's Alfred. So this is like a replacement Spotlight that just has like cooler stuff. Like for example, I don't know, does it? All right. So like if I want to copy the value of this to my clipboard, like there's like no way to do it. What? Come over here and copy this. Like, so that's just the calculator is much nicer on Alfred. Like I can copy straight from that. And it's got a whole bunch of other cool stuff. Wait, so what do we decide? Pixels or no pixels? I guess I'll leave it for pixels for now. It looks like GitHub's doing the width in pixels. Alright, so I do want to render this card so I can see what the heck this big card looks like. So we're going to say bigcard.story.tsx. And we're just going to wrap it with a wrapper so we can see what those look like together. Because that's pretty much the way we're going to do it. Alright, so this has a very light background on it. Or like elevation thingy. Like our question card. So I'm just going to copy what we did for that. And I guess I should do overflow hidden as well. Though, do I want to do overflow hidden? I don't know if I want to or not. We'll see. We'll see. See if the radius gets messed up. So let's see what this looks like. So this is pretty much why I'm using Storybook, because I can just see what it looks like before I use it in the other project. Alright, so I am content. You're using Webpack to bundle the front-end stuff, right? Yes. Next.js wrote the Webpack config that I'm using. You can add aliases for folders so you don't have to do absolute imports instead of ... Yeah, I don't mind having the ... because it's just going to be auto-completed by by VS Code. So I don't mind having them. And the way I have it structured right now is we're not too deeply nested, that there's not like 6 of these. If it does get too deep, I then will go ahead and switch to absolutes. Alright, so this is looking super long. Is this what 980 is? This thing is 920, even though our wrapper is 980. Oh, it's overflowing. What the heck? Maybe I don't want the width of... Yeah, I don't want width 100%. It should automatically do that. I was going to say, why was it going all the way across the screen there? Alright, so just restart that. Something went wrong there. I think our card was looking pretty good though. I don't know if there's any other changes I needed for it, just for this. And then we can also create like a header at some point as well. Margin left and right to auto. Actually, we can just say fudge. Well, tell me which one's shorthand property is set to values the thickness of the margin. If left is omitted, the same as right. Bottom is omitted, same as right. Alright, it doesn't tell me which one's first. Aren't you using styled system? Yes, I am. I don't really know how to use it well though, so I don't use it too much. Box sizing border box. What does that do? No, it's top. Okay, so I need to invert this. Wait, so what does the box sizing border box do? I don't see a noticeable difference. It makes so the padding is set inwards, not outwards. Okay. Alright, I mean, that looks pretty similar. I think it may be a little too curvy there, but I'm okay with that. We can always reduce it if we need to later. Why does it have border radius 9 pixels twice? Oh, because I have it twice. So like if you have a div with 100% width, you can add 20 pixels of padding and you don't have a box sizing, it'll be 100% plus 20 pixels. Oh, I see. Oh, you know what? I think I run into that problem with Saffron and I had no idea how to solve it. That's good to know. Usually you add it to global selectors. I really don't like the border radius above 5 pixels. Alright, let's see what 5 looks like. Do I have a global style yet? Create global style. Alright, let's add that. I don't think I need to check if we're already adding a global style or not. That I can just add it onto that, or if I need to do it. Nope, there's no global style right now. So in my theme, I'm going to export one, I guess. Or I guess in here, I want to export a global style. All right, so we want star box sizing border box. Might just looks like my syntax is a little off. There we are. Also use styled system for this stuff, man. It might take a bit of initial setup, but it'll save you time in your long run, even if you're moving on to other projects. Like you literally are able to write MX is 3 or your components or 3, and you get consistent style all the time. Yeah, I like that. Also, padding and margin reset to 0 to default browser settings. All right, let's do that. Okay, so with styled systems, what should is there anything here though that I really want to move into a styled system? I see adding styled system, like those properties to things like I probably makes sense to add to our card, for example, or to like our buttons, which I think Jonah added. Um, yeah, we have a button style here. You don't need to create. Oh, you're right. Good point. So that means I don't need it over here. So let's export this. And we can use this on our website now. So we're gonna say post but use styled system to create some base components, and you can easily extend from there. In fact, if you'd be willing, you could just set up rebase outside the one downside I mentioned. Yeah, I'd be fine setting up rebase for this. Oh, I didn't export big card. Which means I'm gonna have to rebuild all that. Let's add rebase real quick, because then we'll get some nice primitives out of it as well that we can start with. Mm, 4K stars, there should be types for this. I'm gonna be really sad if they don't have them. Oh, thank goodness. So does that mean, I guess with this, you don't actually deal with styled system directly. You actually just use rebase and you kind of use it underneath the hood. I see. So then if I need to extend things. Cool. Is this working? I rebuilt. This is re-emitting. All right. So the other thing is I want my wrapper to be centered. Is this my wrapper? This is my wrapper. So I guess we just should say margin auto on a wrapper. This feels a little weird card on card. So what's different about this that it looks nicer? I guess that it's extended more at the bottom. Your margins are wrong. Which one? If I do margin auto though, there, won't it also center it? No, okay. It still has it at the top. No shadow or background on the card. Do you think I should remove this? The box shadow there. Ooh, not that one. This one? Like that? Or you want the background card not to have one? This one. Okay, so you don't like the like this little outline that it has. I need to make it light gray. Yes, you're right. Let's see, where's the color picker? Color picker. Alright. Is that copied to my clipboard? Nah. Where would that go? Maybe it's in the color palette up here. Probably like this gray. Probably one of the neutrals. Alright, let me zoom out so I can see what the heck. I zoomed in, I was like, where did everything go? So this is actually where I can just use a rebas component, I think. So I guess I can import rebas and then export everything. Alright, so we're gonna have a button conflict there. So I guess with my button, we'll call it something else. I'm not gonna export the default with it anymore. And I'm just gonna call this my button for now, and we'll figure out how those things work together. Ah, yes, we're importing button from a few places. I forgot about that. We really shouldn't even be using button here. This was just kind of a hack. I was importing button from material UI there. What else did I do? Maybe the folder tree component I didn't do. And then my button. Cool. So now on post over here, item path has implicitly any. I think it's just because the TypeScript types haven't gone yet. is now I can just pick a Rebas div or the equivalent of a div in Rebas. I think it called box. I went to the wrong place. The margin in the index.js of the big card should be margin 0 auto instead of auto 0. The order is top right bottom left or top bottom right left. Okay. So we want 0 on the top and bottom and auto on. Yep, that makes sense. And let's go ahead and rebuild that. So I don't want to be importing this. Actually, do you guys think I should just import this directly from Rebas instead of importing it from my library? I think actually that's better. Instead of exporting all the components from Rebas in the UI library over there, that seems unnecessary, I think. All right, box. This is the only thing that I have no idea what, like, oh, here we go. I was gonna say I have like no idea what props we have access to, but here we go. We have color, and we actually want BG. So is this where I need to pass in? Let's go look at our theme. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of this. I think I just want to do it directly from Rebas. I don't think there's a point doing that. Yes, so I do have a theme already set up. Jonah actually set this up for me, so that was nice. So like, we want to use one of these neutral colors in the background. So let's see how we do that. Think of a clock beginning at 12 o'clock. Okay. So that's up and down first. All right, let's look at the non-extending first. So theming, yes, colors. So for us, our neutrals is actually an array. You know what I mean? So we can't just write a single like, I don't think you do that, do you? First, let me render this without a background just to make sure everything is all good. Well, it looks like there is a way to kind of alias things. Alright, so that renders. Because they set the background to magenta there. That's basically what we want to do. So how do they have their colors set up? I mean, I could directly pass the color in doing that, yes. But we want to set up with the theme. You might need to use comments instead of an array. Yeah. I was gonna say I've seen it like this before. That's what I was looking for. So that's what I want to do. So if I want to keep it in an array, then I would access it like this. Like 2, for example. So we didn't set a background color for our thing here, so they're just taking on the color of that. All right, so Next.js. So the body tag has a margin of 8 pixels. This is where we needed to reset stuff with our CSS, and so I didn't actually add that yet. So global style. What the heck? I've never seen VS Code auto import it like that. Oh, I already even have it up here. Oops. Is it not in there? Okay, yeah, I'm not actually exporting it. There we go. And actually, while I was over there, I should have made the card white. So my big card is gonna have a background color of white. So then what do you think? So like, for example, this big card, should this be a box that I pass in attributes to and I just export the big card? Or should I be passing in like this? I should probably be I should be probably extending the box, right? Import it, oh. You're right. So I should be extending the card component then from Rebas. Or I guess I can pass. I see. So what I should be doing is I use the card from Rebas, and then all my specific things, I should create a variant of the cards. So that's what I should be doing, because I have a couple different variants of the cards, so I don't reuse it. Okay, I think I get how you do that now. All right, so let's convert that over to Rebas real quick when we get this the way we like it. Forgot about that. You don't render it like that, you just render it without children. All right, cool, we got more problems. What can it not import? So app looks like it's happy. Box is no longer coming from there, it should be coming from Rebas. Great. Okay. So this is where I guess I just want to be doing a height 100% there. Or is it H for height? Height and H don't exist. Instead of the reset manually, you can use a reset style sheet or do better like GitHub and others. I think they use the normalized CSS. It could put styles in the same in every browser. Yeah, I probably should just be using normalized CSS. I'm going to add that as a to-do to add later. Alright, so let's see how we do height in Rebas. So box. Additional CS object or string override. So it looks like I just have to do it through CSS. Why are you setting the height? So this. So I went, so this extends to the bottom. And so I was thinking adding the height as 100%. Do I want min height? Maybe min height's better. Is that... I don't think they have that property either, so min height. So I have the weirdest thing going on. Whenever I connect to my VPN, my connection symbol will change from connected to connected with a question mark. But lately I've been using a VPN and question mark every once in a while, maybe 10 minutes at a time. Oh, that's weird. Do you want a min height 100 view height? No, what you need is to set the body to a height of 100. Okay, I guess that we can do that in the our global style. And should I do min height 100 view height or 100%? I think in the past I've used 100%. But I don't know if is view height better. Hoot. They both work the same, don't they? I think they're slightly different, but I don't know like the difference myself. Maybe I should render this in Playground so I don't have to rebuild every time. Alright, so I set my body as a min height of 100%. Looks like I also may have to do the HTML. Alright, so that would be my HTML was good. My body. Okay, so we need the min height on the on the HTML as well. Interestingly enough, min height on the body does nothing. Alright, 100 view height works on the body Yeah, the 100 view height worked. Yeah, I did. The other thing is there's this next div. So that's the other thing that I also need to add it. Well, when I add HTML min height 100%, it works. I'm not sure why the body having a min height of 100% didn't work for that. So what I do next, min height 100%. Yep, that does not work. View height, that does work. All right, so even if I add min height to all these things, we still need to add it on this background color. Let's see, 100% work? Nope. Looks like we're gonna need to be using view height. So we're gonna add 100% view height on this, and we also added it to the ID with __ next. So we're also going to need a min height of 100 view pixels there, or view height. If you're throwing elements below that #_ next, you won't need it, FYI. I think, yeah, I don't think there's anything else underneath. I think the structure of the Next.js project is we have HTML, then we have body, then we have this div which has an ID of next, and then everything else is inside of it. Alright, so let's re-render this. So you don't think I should even bother setting min heights for the HTML body and __ div? Or __ next. What the heck? I thought I said you. Yeah, you. CSS min height. Alright, maybe no semicolon. They'll snap to whatever in them. Ah, I see. Alright, we can kill them then. I guess less CSS is always better. Alright, so the CSS prop doesn't seem to be working. Because it's not getting applied to this thing. Instead, we're getting this undefined, which is kind of weird. We get like this undefined stuff. I think that's what it's doing with the CSS prop. I think you need to add a Babel plugin or something to get it to work. Okay, so you're using emotion in your project, not styled components. Let's see if it talks about... We have the styled components plugin. style is not even on here for me to use. All right. Let's see how you support the CSS prop on this. Supported CSS. Tooling, maybe. Let's do basics. I thought I saw on Twitter the other day they announced something. So releasing support for the CSS prop and create React app. So we're actually not doing create React app, but let's see what they do. Oh, so instead of using the CSS prop, you're using that? You can set default props. So should I just do that in general then? Usually announced. Oh, so use the macro. Alright, something's messed up. Let's not worry about the macro. Oops. Alright, so what did you say to do? Then you can do style.boxspace. So I guess I should put that in my UI package, but let's see how that would work. So you do box base. So are you thinking like I do this? And then I can use the CSS prop with this my box. Gotcha. Okay. See if that made a difference. Nope, we're still getting undefined. Yeah, I think I like having the name be box here as well. Well, I don't know if I do or not, because then it's gonna, if I want VS Code to autocomplete, maybe I want a different name so it picks it up faster. All right, let's see if this works just without the CSS. Okay. So it looks like the CSS prop is just straight broken. So they have some examples. I'm just going to check if they have an example with styled components that uses the CSS prop. It doesn't look like it's a problem with Rebas per se. I mean, for this particular component, I guess we're going to use it all over the place. We might as well just create it as a thing anyway. Documents. Yeah, they're not using it. All right, let's just do that for now. So I'm going to create a new component, which I'm going to call I guess I'm just going to call it background because that's really what it is. By the way, I don't know if you know this, but in VS Code you can do a new file, then type folder name / index.js, and it'll create the folder for you. Okay, I didn't know that. That's really nice. I'm gonna start doing that because basically, yeah, all I do is I create the folder first and then create the file. I was wondering about that. I should have looked it up if there's a way, because I do that all the time. Did I build this? Can't remember. I guess this is where I should have set the default color to be a neutral. Shoot. Background. Nice, now it's the full screen. It needs to be way lighter. Cool, that looks like the right color now. Wait, that's the element you want to be full screen? You should just set a background on the body instead. Yeah, that's actually way better, to be honest. Yeah, that works. Now we don't really even need this background component. Oh, I see what you're saying though. Actually, you're right. I need to do that card as well. I want this to be kind of full screenish, or at least it goes down to the bottom. I guess we could do that part next. But I think I'm getting hungry, so I think I'm going to take a lunch break. And let's push this up. So I'm going to take a lunch break, and then I think I'm probably going to do one more stream before 6, I think. I'll see. So I possibly may stream in like an hour or two some more. But for now, I'm going to take a break, and I'll see you guys later if not. Is there anything else I want to do real quick? Nope. Oh yes, typography. Alright, see you, Repo. Alright guys,